Good morning, or good afternoon, evening.
Yeah. Today we got a real huge geography on, haven't we? Today we got a big geography.
Yeah, Colin and Taketsugu, please turn on the camera and sound again so we can come to Japan for a while.
Welcome to Japan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
that I think was the right cue. So thank you very much. Maybe you should. I know it's COVID time, but just as when we have the introduction, maybe you can stand a little bit closer together so we can see both of you, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I take you're both tested, right?
Yeah, we're clean. We're clean.
We're clean. Okay. So. Taketsugu and Colin, welcome to Learn with Us Inkjet Week. You have actually raised the bar for what you can do in a live show, because you have decided to actually dare you are in a not pre-recorded session, but do a book live, right?
Yeah. That's what we'd like to do. A little bit different from others. We want to have
putting your money where your mouth is. Great.
So so before we go into the session, because I know you divided into a presentation where it's like a PowerPoint, so we can know what to see and understand what we're doing, and then Colin, you're going to actually show it work in progress in a second. Before we start getting into that thing, let's learn a little bit who you are. So, gentlemen, Taketsugu, please introduce yourself first.
Okay, so my name is Yasuo Taketsugu at the Horizon International. I'm belong to the global, global business division, which handling, the global market, including, all the countries except, Japan. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a manager for that division. Yep.
Good. And you live where? I mean, because I said Kyoto, and that is not actually true. Your factory is north of Kyoto, right? Where are we in the world?
So it's actually, from Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar with Kyoto's, right? You visited here 2 years ago. So it's about the, 1 hour train ride from there to the north.
Mm.
Yeah.
And for those who haven't been there, I would say that it's a wonderful ride, because you have these wonderful lakes just next to when you're driving the train or the car to your place. And when we were at your factory at the last Think Smart Factory event, you were still building or planning the tech where we are right now, right? So that is brand new.
Yeah, that's brand new. We opened up the new building, which called the Horizon Innovation Park, last year, June.
Last year, June,
yeah.
Perfect timing, right?
Yes. We were anticipating to, have many people over here, but unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, we are not able to, but we are very much active to do the live demonstration or webinars from here. And then one of the results, we want to present today, with a
That's great.
Fantastic.
And Colin, when I met you at Think Smart Factory in Kyoto, that was in Kyoto, I remember that. I was so impressed, because you were actually a moderator for the entire show, and you are fluent in Japanese, right? But you are an American, right?
That is true. If you can tell, I am not Japanese, but I do speak enough to get by comfortably. That's correct. And actually just starting in June, concurrent with the opening of the brand new Horizon Innovation Park, I was lucky enough to be able to join the Horizon family. So now I'm part of Horizon International, the global business division. Taketsugu-san is my big boss. I do what he tells me to do. Primarily what our division does, our market communication right now is with the COVID pandemic, is we're really working hard, doing different live demonstrations and making sure that all of our customers and dealers around the world are staying up to date with the latest in Horizon news Yeah.
And I can't help think about, you said that you got into the Horizon family in June, but that is not true. You have it in your veins, and you have been born into it. You have to disclaim fully. You know that, right?
I am a second generation bindery man working with Horizon. I've actually, Taketsugu-san, when was the first time we met?
He was about 3 years old when we met each other.
So in many ways, I was born into this family, and I'm happy to be now an adult member. But yes, my father is a Horizon dealer over in the United States. Bob Flynn, if you're watching, hello. So yes, this is a family operation here. Horizon itself is actually, now we have the third generation of the founding Hori family working in the company. So it's really nice because we're a family-founded company. We work with a lot of family-run companies, be it our distributors or the little print shops all around the world. So we try and value our human connections with everybody.
Yeah.
I would like to add to that one, because our relationship with between Inkish and Horizon started actually with a interview I did with Yoshihiro Oe from also from Horizon International, and also situated in Germany. And I did that in Switzerland at the Hunkler Innovation Days. And you're, of course, a very close relationship with Hunkler as well. I can't help thinking about it. I don't know if you two know that, but I can tell you that at that time I didn't know Oe-san. And I don't hope he will be offended when I say this, but I remember when I asked him, so what did you think of the interview? And his response, I think, was something like, "You speak too much." Me. And that is...
Was he wrong?
No, of course not. And I would say that since we started to work together and also to get to know each other, I have really appreciated the work. Also because I think you're so professional in how both the equipment and your communication. But another thing I just wanted to address, and that's why I'm mentioning this, is also Oe-san and I, we had a dinner at one point, and I think he said something like, a lot of Japanese, and Taketsugu, please correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of Japanese companies have maybe been a little bit too close, Japanese only kind of culture, also when it comes to communication and things like that. And the Horizon have opened up. I remember at the Think Smart Factory, it was our friends from What They Think were like covering America, and we were covering Europe. And I think that was like an opening for even foreign media to come really into the heart of Horizon, right? Is that something also, Colin, that you recognize from being an American working in a Japanese company?
Yeah, I mean, Japan definitely has its own unique work culture and has the different traditions and customs that go along with it. But I can tell you, since coming to Horizon, you've been able to really see a huge international shift. When times are better and we're able to get together in larger groups, we almost have a mini United Nations that gathers here in Horizon with people from just about every continent in the world working together. So it's been really fantastic experience trying to see how the company is evolving, even within just the past year, and really taking strides to, not only survive, but thrive during this whole changing scenario that we're going through.
But I can't help thinking about what you say, because if we just look at this little forum here, we have Jean from South Africa, we have me from Denmark, we have Taketsugu, who's native Japanese, we have you as an American, and I know that the guy standing in front of you, he's Korean, right? I mean, so I mean, we miss somebody from the Middle East, and we miss somebody from Australia, and somebody from South America as well. Otherwise, it would be pretty good couple.
Actually, we got a South American people involved in this demonstration. We got a people from Peru.
Oh. Fantastic.
Okay, sorry.
Fantastic. So before we go into your presentation, Taketsugu, I just have one question more from my side. Maybe Jean has more, but doing a live presentation, and also the pandemic, as you said, being able to do one-to-one customer presentation like that, is that, I mean, of course, it's new for everybody to do this, but has it been a huge technical challenge, both in technical terms of cameras and mixers and things like that, but also in perspective of how you communicate through a camera instead of having a one-to-one relationship?
Yeah, that's right. In the beginning, we got many challenges and then many mistakes we made. We pay a lot of money to Amazon. Actually, we tried to buy many things, and then buy again. And finally, we are in a better setup right now. But
yeah.
Next,
mistakes, I would call them learning opportunities.
Yeah.
Many learning opportunities, and I think everybody will see today. We've put together a pretty good kit for you.
Next time you call us, because we have done all the errors, so you can just learn from us. I tell you, promise you.
So today you're presenting obviously on the Truepress and your product, okay? But are your demos across all your products, or is it very much Inkjet demos that you guys are running?
Yep. So actually, we're here in our new Horizon Innovation Park, where we have a beautiful, spacious new showroom. So anything that's in our Horizon lineup, if we get some interested clients and some interested customers, then we are able to do those live demonstrations right here at our HQ. So anything you want to see, yes. Yep.
And then I just have two practical things, actually one practical thing, and then I can see that we are represented in Oceania as well, because we have Craig Paul from New Zealand as part of the here. So we are represented by most of the world, I think. And then Nikolai Stratkov is asking whether the presentation will be available later. Yes, we will have everything ready as replays already this afternoon, and we will have them edited on English TV next week. And also Horizon will get a physical copy, so I'm sure they would like to share it with the audience as well. So there should be plenty of opportunities to re-see this, I hope, wonderful presentation, right? So why don't you just get started from your end? Jean and I will turn off our cameras and sound, but we will be there all the time, just listening and learning, and then we will be ready for a Q&A session in the end. Is that okay with you?
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, looking forward to it, guys.
Take it away.
So today I would like to present, our Inkjet print to profit binding solutions. I have prepared a PowerPoint today, and then I want to play from now. So can you see the PowerPoint all right in front of you?
Yes.
Okay. So as mentioned in the screen, Inkjet print to book production, and how easy we can make. That's what we're going to show you today. As you know, we are the finishing vendors, who we can provide all the finishing process, like a cutting, folding, profit binding, saddle stitching, 3-knife trimming, die cutting, all those kind of finishing process. But today, we're going to focus on book production, how easy it can make. Firstly, today the theme is the inkjet printing. So inkjet printing or digital printing, taking pages from offset printing recently, or these maybe 10, 20 years. And then as a common, method, it's been accepted. But as mentioned in the previous, last session on the smart factory, finishing has been a little bit left aside, and then which we call last frontier. But the automated finishing is a key for success for inkjet printing more efficiently. So we want to drive that direction, today. So why invest for the inkjet printing or inkjet technology? That's all about a success, right? So it's not just to be cool, it's a trend. That's not the reason. It's for the success and then gain the benefit from there. So let's review the current circumstances. As everybody has been struggling, it's difficult to keep or hire skilled operators because the skilled operator is getting older, and then the younger generation is hesitate to get in this industry. So it's a little bit difficult to hire or maintain skilled operator in the shop. And second, increase of labor and the material cost, because it's difficult to hire, and then it's the owner have to pay more for the labors, and at the same time, material cost like a paper, has been increasing. And next one is a price competition. This is actually going the opposite way. Even though the labor cost and the material costs are increasing, but the price competition is getting higher and higher. So the printers have to offer the, the lower price to the, customers. And, this is a common thing, that the quick change of the market, because the market is changing rapidly and we have to adjust for the market. And lastly, it's a new one, but the COVID-19 situation, we are getting used to it, but it's actually called new normal. In the past, we can do more freely, but we have to adjust for the social distancing or, different way, for the COVID-19 situation. So all those things need to be considered for the successful business, but to save the labor or to be a cost efficiency, bringing a more automation and less labor, that's a key for the success. So first, let's review the conventional production process before we are going to the live presentation today, which we're going to show you the inline solution for more digital-oriented, production flow. In the past, or even today, the conventional way, the pre-press, press, and post-press, all are different division, and even difficult to communicate sometimes. So pre-press people is just throwing the job to the print, and then print people is throwing the job to the finishing. So sometimes, each division, there are many barriers, and then many labors and many touch points were involved. To just review, how many labors and then how many touch points are involved, we have put together some, animations to show you the idea how many, touch point and then labors are involved. Firstly, order taking. People need to, take order, and then one people is involved. And then plate making, when another people involved, and then the touch point is involved as well. And plates are made, and then after the plates are made, it will be delivered to the press division. So at the pre-press, three people are involved, and then 2 touch points. And then going to the press division, need to deliver the plate and then set the plate on the offset press and then run the job. Now we got 5 people involved and then another touch point, so 3. After that, the job, a printed job will be delivered to the post-press process. To produce perfect bound book, firstly, it will be folded as a signature. Okay, another people involved and then touch points. And after the signature are made, it will be processed to the next step, which will be gathering or collating jobs. And then the job are set on the collator or gatherer, and then another people involved and then touch points. After gathered and then created as a book block, it will be delivered to the profit binding process. Now, 8 people are involved and 8 touch points. Okay, the profit bound books are made, and then next process is 3-knife trimming. Okay, it will be delivered to the 3-knife trimming. Okay, books are loaded on a 3-knife trimmer and then finish the book. After that, it will be delivered to the shipping and delivered to the customers. So those are the steps, required for the conventional production process. So number of people required is 9, and touch point are 12. So these are the conventional production process. But to run the digital job efficiently, such as variable job or short run job, with this process, it's not efficient. Like before, if we have thousands job or 10,000 job, and then this process was efficient, but now it's different. It needs to be streamlined, the workflow, or system need to be integrated together. And then people need to communicate each other more freely. That's the ideal way for efficient. And today, through the live demo, we are going to present the inline profit binding solution together with the Hunkeler unwinder. And for the inkjet press, we're going to use the SCREEN Truepress Jet 520 HD mono. And then for our finishing device, we're going to fold the signature with our folder and then made a book block, and then profit bound and 3-knife trimming, all inline process. So we're going to run the 5 different variable job during the demo with minimum touch point and a minimum labor. So please pay attention to following points. The first, labor saving. We're going to use minimum labors during the demo. And second, the reduced touch point. It's actually almost start button to for the touch. And next one is a reduced turnaround time. We're going to produce 5 different jobs during the session. These are all different format and different thickness. So please pay attention how efficient we can run those jobs. Next one is the integrated workflow. We're going to collaborate with a screen, and then we're going to run with a streamline, integrated workflow using the IceLink technology. And lastly, quality check-in. Please pay attention to quality check-in. As an inline and less labor involved, but still, quality check-in is an important factor to produce the better book, right? So we want to, move the camera to the Colin. So over to you, Colin. Are you ready?
We can't hear Colin.
I'm standing here in front of our inkjet press inline book production system. So as we promised, today we're going to be showing a live demonstration of our solution. So before we go into any real details, I think everybody wants to see some production first. Here you can see our Truepress Jet 520 HD mono, which is running inline with some Hunkeler equipment into our smart binding system. So we're actually going to have our cameraman kind of follow the line for a little bit so you get an idea of what's going on, and I'll explain the details in just a little bit. So here you can see our sheets being cut, entering our buckle folder. After folding, our signatures enter our book block stacker PBS 40. Are delivered onto our buffering conveyor, and then the book blocks are fed up onto our elevator EL480 to go to proper feeding height on our book block feeder 480. Now all of this we're going to go into more detail in just a little bit, but I want you to be able to see what's happening on our production floor. This space is called the print laboratory because it's where we design new systems, try new configurations, and also where we print all of the books and manuals that go out with our Horizon products. You may be able to see in the background, you may not, a robot feed book production system as well, which we have developed for true human-free book production. So you'll be able to see some of our books coming out of the delivery section of the BQ500 4-clamp perfect binder right now. And you'll be able to see those coming out onto our cooling conveyor belt as they wind their way up to the HT1000V 3-knife trimmer. And here comes our first book. Now, all of the jobs we're going to be doing today are going to be variable page count, variable finished format size, and all of this created in line with just a single operator. You'll remember when Taketsuga-san was giving the presentation before this, how Horizon is working hard to make sure that our customers can get the most out of their production floor space and their staff while still maintaining high productivity and cost-efficient production. And here we have our book being cut in 3 directions and exiting into the delivery section of the HT1000V. You may have noticed some QR codes on the floor here, and I promise I'll tell you a little bit more about those at the end of today's presentation. So let's go into a little bit more detail about our smart binding system. First and foremost, from our web over there on our Hunkler unwinder, all the way through to finishing, this entire production would have taken 9 people with your conventional process. However, today we were able to do that with just 1. This is our Peruvian mighty man, JP, who was able to do all of this with just the push of a single button. And that's really thanks to the benefits of our smart binding system, which begins right over here. So with the smart binding system, you get a myriad of benefits. The first is that you get to have a, reduced labor costs because you can do everything with just power of 1 person. You're also having a simplified workflow because everything is done in line. And of course, following from that is stable production. With our conventional workflow, you would have had up to 12 different touch points going from your blank sheet to finished book. With this, it's just 1 because everything is done, again, in line. Also, you're able to do variable page production with our smart binding system, which leads to reduced blank pages at the end of your book. Now, why do you want reduced pages at the end of your book? Well, number 1, it's going to improve the appearance of the book. It's also going to lower the cost of paper and shipping because of the reduced weight. And it's also going to be able to reduce your overhead as a total. Now, all of that is thanks to the setup that we have here today, where we have a unwinder and a cutter capable of doing dynamic cut lengths for our web coming through. So depending on the length of the sheet that you're working with, you're going to want to change your folding pattern, change your imposition to get less blank sheets at the end of your book. Now, the way we're able to do that is every sheet, you should have something coming up on your screen in just a moment. Every sheet has a series of barcodes and unique barcodes and end marks printed, which allow our system to track everything coming through. So once our cut sheets exit the cutter and enter our AFV 566DF folder, we scan that barcode, which tells the folder what type of folding pattern to do. So this happens at very high speeds where we're able to switch from, say, 8 to 12 page signatures on the fly. I actually have a slow motion video, which I can show on your screen now, where we're able to catch our 8-page imposition coming through and then 12-page imposition coming through right after that. So we're going to let that play, and you should be able to see an 8-page imposition coming through right now, and then 12-page imposition coming through after that. Okay, I think that played through. We have a little bit of a time lag on our side, so I can't see what you're seeing, but I'm going to say that went perfectly. So how are we able to reduce the blank pages at the end of the book by changing that imposition? Well, you're able to do 8, 12, 16, and 18-page imposition. And I am not very good at mental math, but I have a little bit of an equation that I can put up on your screen now to help me explain. So let's say you're producing a 49-page book. If you're working with static sheet length and one folding pattern, you would have to have 3 signatures with 12-page imposition to get those 49 pages, but you would be left with 11 blank pages at the end of the book. However, with our dynamic folding system, you can reduce the number of blank pages by simply using, it would have been 5 signatures of 12 pages. By using 3 signatures of 12 pages and then having 2 signatures with an 8-page imposition to give you a maximum of 3 blank pages at the end of the book. So that's going to improve the appearance of your book. It's going to cut down on your paper costs and shipping costs by reducing the weight. And of course, it's going to just reduce your costs overall. So let's move on. After our sheets, our signatures are folded in our buckle folder, we have a sensor here at the exit, which is looking for any miscues or misfolds coming through the line. If we sense that anything is off on the signature, we reject that right away before it enters the next solution in the system. Remember I talked about those end sheet marks earlier? After we check our signature folding, we look for that end mark, which will tell the system that this is the last signature in a book block coming through. And once we pass through the next solution, to advance that entire book downstream. So we have our folded signatures come into the entrance of our book block stacker BBS 40, and we use press stackers in order to remove any air to create a nice tight fold and give us a nice steady book block later on. So I mentioned that we may be rejecting signatures in case of something happening upstream. After our signatures enter the book block stacker, we have another barcode reader, which is scanning the unique barcode on every signature coming through, which allows us to track all of the paper moving through the system. If, while scanning, it notices that we're missing, say, signature number 3 of a 5-signature book block, it will be able to say, hey, something is wrong here, but I will finish collecting the signatures in the book block and then reject that book at the delivery section of the book block stacker. This allows us to easily create reprint data for later. Now, all of this is going through the tracking system that we have developed. So as you can see on the right-hand side here, these are all the different signatures that make up a book block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once we have collected those and scanned them, then we'll begin tracking by the book unit. So we can see that all of these books pass through, no problem. Later on in the demonstration, I'll show you how we're able to communicate with our upstream printing devices in order to track any sort of misprints coming through the line, reject them downstream, and then be able to create that reprint data. So once we have our signatures stacked in the book block stacker, they're jogged in all 4 directions, and we have 2 glue guns applying dot glue in the trim out section of the book block to make sure we have a nice, tightly jogged and stable book block coming through the system. Here we have a buffering conveyor. Let me get ahead of the camera here. Buffering conveyor that allows us to keep production in case we have any issues upstream. We can keep going down the line. So once our book blocks come through, they are lifted to feeding height on the elevator conveyor EL480. Once they're lifted up to height, at the entrance of our book block feeder 480, every book block is calipered for thickness. That thickness information is sent to the binder, which allows us to adjust the clamp width, the milling guides, the spine glue coverage, the nipper table height, the creasing position and registration on our cover feeder, and our nipper table height. I may have said that already. After we've calipered for thickness, we have another barcode reader, which is scanning the unique ID, barcode on the top signature of the book block. And we use this for cover matching with our binder. If for whatever reason we're unable to read that barcode, the book is gently rejected into a reject tray on the side of the system. Once the book blocks enter the BQ500 4-clamp perfect binder, which is the latest addition to our perfect binding series, then we trim off that spine, apply glue, go through the cover feeder, which I'll show you later on, and then up the conveyor to our HT 1000V zero make ready 3-knife trimmer. What does zero make ready mean? It means that we use a barcode scanner to set up and change our positioning on the fly. That gives us the ability to not only go from A4 to A5 sizes on the fly, but variable thickness as well. So we're going to be running a couple of jobs for you right now, and I'm going to show you on our sample table what we have in store. So here we have a 128-page Christmas Carol book, a 256-page version of Grimm's Fairy Tales, a 352-page copy of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, one of my favorites, Mark Twain, a 144-page ruled notebook, and lastly, a 56-page brochure for the equipment that we're using today. Now, while we're using the Truepress Jet 520 HD mono to print our book contents, we're lucky enough to have a Konica Minolta AcurioPress C14000 on our demonstration floor, where we've been able to print all of the covers for today's demonstration. Okay, so we should be beginning production, and there you can see our machine. Okay, so I hear our presses starting up. So with our system, we're able to communicate with the jet inspection system on our SCREEN Truepress Jet printer. So let's say you have, I don't know, some sort of misprint or something spilled on the paper or a bad employee. Create a mark on your printed material. Now, on your conventional process, that's probably not going to get noticed, and that's going to ship out to your customer, which could lead to problems down the line. However, there's a high-speed scanner at the exit of the Truepress Jet, which will automatically sense that misprint and send the information to our tracking system. So here we can see our paper coming through, being cut. Each sheet is scanned to see the length and folding pattern. Folded in our buckle folder. Checked for any misfolds, checking our end marks. As you can see, we didn't even bother putting a reject tray down here because we know we're going to be creating good books for you today. And here we have our book being stacked. And I want you to notice our screen right here. We're tracking every sheet coming through, every signature coming through, looking at our past books. And we have something called included in failure line. That is the information sent over by the screen printer saying, hey, we've got something wrong with our printed material. Please reject that down the line. And there you can see the line that I mischievously placed on our signature earlier. So once we have our books coming through, you can see our ruled notebook coming along our conveyor here, buffering conveyor, entering the elevator conveyor, EL480, being lifted up to feeding height, where then it's going to scan, going to be calibrated for thickness, and then scan to make sure we have the correct cover in our feeder. Now, we're going to have the cameraman go over to the cover feeder really quickly, where I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about some of our special features. So with our cover conveyor, in addition to be able to make 4 different crease lines for your corners and hinges, we also have an optional cover slitter section as well. This allows you to run with oversized cover sheets when doing variable thickness production. So what you would do is run with a cover sheet which is large enough to accommodate your thickest book. And then when running thin books, that data would automatically be sent from the caliper to the slitting module, letting it know to cut the cover sheet down to the proper size. Okay, we can have our cameraman come back and check out the books coming through our delivery conveyor. Here we have our books coming through. As you can see, I believe this is about an A5 size finished notebook coming through. And then right after this, we're going to have our A4 size pamphlet coming through as well. As you can see, there's no stoppage in production when changing thickness or finished format size. So as our books are entering the HT1000V 3-knife trimmer, that barcode is getting scanned, and we're setting up, making all the adjustments on the fly. Let's take a look at the delivery section of our HT1000V. So I can't see your screen right now. I believe we're seeing books enter the delivery conveyor right now. I'm going to believe that. Okay. So let's bring the camera back over to me here. So as you can see, we have our finished product coming through. There is that pamphlet, our ruled line notebook. Let's see if I can get this out on time. Our Grimm's Fairy Tale. Just had another pamphlet come through as well. Now we were able to produce all of these variable page count, all these variable format size books with just a single operator. So I think, one more thing I would like to tell you about, which I promised, these QR codes on the floor. These are actually guide marks for an automated guided vehicle, or AGV. And in our delivery section today, what we have is a newly developed system where our books are delivered into cartons, into boxes at the end of the conveyor, which can then be put onto a cart with wheels. That automated guided vehicle will follow the QR codes, pick up the full cart once it receives a signal, and then bring that over to the next step in the finishing process, whether that's packaging, inspection, or what have you. So I think that finishes our demonstration here on the floor. I'm going to bring Taketsugu-san back with me now.
We lost sound, Colin. We can't hear you right now.
Oh, you can't hear me right now?
I can hear you now. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I am almost speechless.
Me too.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've been at so many printing companies around the world, and you know, so many people talk about all the wonderful automation opportunities, and then you essentially just show how easy it is, right? I take that your engineers have worked more than a couple of days on this one, right?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we've been developing this system for a while, and yeah, we're very confident in our solution here. Yeah.
When we look at the system like this and the approach of many binding suppliers, both Hunkler and yourself, is the modular approach, and that basically means that you can have whatever printing device, you can have whatever application, then you can tailor whatever you want. That level of automation that you have shown today, is that throughout also, let's say, stitch products, or you know, other different kinds of products as well?
Yeah, we do have a stitching products or folding products, and then, you know, as an Inline, you know, we can use as a cut and stack, you know, and then processing in different devices as well. So we have all different kinds of finishing devices to handle, you know, inkjet printed material.
As we are
Morten,
a little bit,
Morten, we've been talking about Inkjet all week and having all these discussions about cutting out processes. And I think this just takes it to another level, because, you know, I think somebody said in the beginning of the presentation, finishing is almost the last thought. But when you look at this, this should be almost the first decision. This is how I want to finish. This is what I want to do. And then work backwards to put the press on there. Sorry, press manufacturers, but it's normally the press manufacturers that are advising what finishing to use. In this case, it's like you should be choosing finishing and then working back to the press that's going to suit this. And I think it just takes Inkjet to a whole nother level, because the way I understand Inkjet, you're cutting out processes, it's touch-free system. You know, this is not even just book block out. You've got a completely binded book ready to get shipped. So,
but Jean,
takes Inkjet to another level.
But Jean, I think there's another thing to it as well, because if you look at the setup behind these gentlemen right now, you see the Truepress, right? And then you see the Hunkler unwinder and the cut sheeter, right? And I can't help thinking about it, because this also would work if you had like a sheet-based printer, because you can deliver into your system from whatever device. So when even for printing companies who may be reluctant to have a roll-based system printing device, you can still use the Horizon setup for creating all these variable books on demand, right?
One of the things that we like to say here at Horizon actually is change the focus. It's one of our mottos here. And we want to change the focus from the upstream devices to finishing, because right now with the technological advances, especially in the inkjet field, you're able to produce at such fast speed, at such great quality, that really your bottlenecks are happening downstream. And so what we've done with the past couple of years is really focus on developing the automation and inline solutions that will allow the customers who have spent, you know, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on their printers actually be able to get the benefit and get that return on their investment downstream.
So Colin, one thing you mentioned, was, you know, with different signatures, you could change sizing on the fly, which is great. Is that machine running at full speed then, and all the finishing running at full speed, that you can do that?
So when you're running with different size sheets, that's going to determine the speed that the system runs at. So if you're running with, let's say, an 18-page imposition, then the machine is going to have more time to process that through than if you're doing very short impositions. So actually having the ability to vary all of that is going to let you optimize your finishing solution and workflow for the job that you have at hand.
We have unfortunately limited time, but we have quite some questions, so I will just dig into it. The first one I've seen in a very long chat, and please correct me, chatters, if there's anything I missed. Rob Ens is writing, how do you adapt to an inline component failure that requires repair? Does the full operation then stop? Good question.
So I believe the question is, let's say something happens with the printer. What goes downline? Does the entire production come offline? I think is the question. And that is with inline systems, one of the hurdles that you have to overcome is that sometimes you can have hiccups happen. However, like I showed you, we have a buffering conveyor down system. So if you're able to get lots of books running and then have some trouble upstream, you'll be able to continue production still. I would also like to mention that we have some more, I can't say too much about everything, but we do have solutions that are going to allow people to continue production while overcoming hurdles that typically come up with inline systems.
Perfect. Jamie Walsh from Solimar is asking, where can we find more information about the tracking system? Can data be exported to third-party systems? Let me guess for a second. The last time we spoke, it was IoT that was the secret, and everything is called IceLink now. Could that be a component?
So the tracking system and an IceLink is actually the different, tracking system we have is actually the separate, the quality checking system. We put the barcode and then every signature are, checked. And then it's actually a different things.
One of the nice things, though, is with our tracking data, all of that is exportable to, let's say, a CSV file. CVS is a drugstore in America.
No,
CSV, comma separated.
There we go. To a CSV file for later analysis and integration to your in-house systems. Yes.
Perfect.
And also, our tracking system is actually communicating with the screen, the image, checking system. So as you could see during the demo, when the Colin, wrote the, letter on the row, and then it diverted on the our reject section.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Lisa from
Lisa,
Monty Paper. Okay, sorry. Yeah, she's asking. we are on the same page here, right? So to speak. Lisa from Monty Group is asking, what is the lowest basis weight of paper you can run through the process?
Paper weight? Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
The grammage. How low grammage can you? Yeah.
So, it's actually based on the printers. For the, very, very thin one, of course, we have to, slow down the process, but we're still able to process it. And in heavier stock as well, we have to do the perforation and so on. So, but we have to do the different finishing, but we are able to accommodate most of the spec, printer can handle.
Great.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking for more questions, but I'm just getting loads of great presentation, fantastic, very professional. You guys are just wonderful. So I'll tell you, but if I have to keep reading these, you guys are going to have heads this big at the end of the day. It's fantastic. Everybody is just blown away and impressed. Yeah, I'm just.
I can't help think about the last one that is from Jason Sieber. He says NASA lands on Mars and Horizon demonstrates the final frontier for efficient on-demand book production. Well done, Team Horizon.
Yeah.
I mean to be in the same league as a 50 million kilometers travel to space, that must be pretty amazing, right?
At heart, we're just a family-based company here at Horizon, but we like to punch above our weight.
That's totally okay. Yeah,
I gotta say, it was extremely impressive, eye-opener for everybody, and gosh, it's this is going to create a lot of interest in the market for sure.
Thank you, and I would also just like to say, if you want to stay up to date on the latest product news coming out from Horizon, to please like our LinkedIn page, Horizon International. We also have a podcast out called Horizon Radio, which you can subscribe to on iTunes, Spotify, or any other broadcasting application that you're using.
And I mean, just to add to that, you forgot that we actually have some really good interviews and footage on Inkies TV as well. But okay, we forget that in the fast pace of moving forward.
I got that one without saying.
Just here in the final moments here, actually, for dear audience, if you want to learn more about finishing, we have the good friends of the Horizon family, Hunkler, is going to Hans Gut, and a customer, Michael Tuchscher from Belt's Grafische Betrieb is going to have the next session. I have sent a link, so I think you should sign up for that one. I mean, just on this very, very last minute here, the relationship with Hunkler is actually very tight, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we have been working with them for many years.
And you even shared distributor in the US, right? So everything that you see here and how you combine technology from multiple vendors is something that is in the binding DNA, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, together with Hunkler, you know, we develop many intelligent interface, so we can provide, you know, very good solution to the market. Yeah.
That's great. Both of you, thank you for your support. Thank you for a fantastic presentation, and I congratulate you on execution. And I mean, one thing is the great way you executed, but I think the technology speaks almost for itself, how fantastic this is and how much benefit it can give to the industry. So thank you for a wonderful presentation.
Let's not forget JP, because his little dance in the background and pushing the button. Let's give him credit there too, huh?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. See you guys and talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.